Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Griffin here, and let's just get right into today's video because as you just saw from the title and thumbnail of the video, we're going to be speaking about the psychedelic sector, which if you follow small cap stocks or just the stock market at all for that matter, you're most likely aware of just how insane the psychedelic market has been over the past couple of weeks. And on Monday, I posted this poll on my Instagram page asking if anyone would be interested in an update video and my thoughts on the psychedelic space in general. Pretty much everyone said yes, so here it is. Now, as an industry that's been spoken about and endorsed by famous investors like Kevin O'Leary or Peter Thiel, for example, it's really no surprise that so much momentum has built up towards the psychedelic sector. And at this point, however, the train has left the station and it's on its way to Pluto. I mean, let's just quickly take a look at some charts here. MindMed up over 1,000% since September, which granted, as of the time of filming this video today, the stock has receded down 15%. Kind of bad timing for this video because I wanted to make this video before it actually crashes down a bit, but you know, regardless, it is what it is. New Me up 400% in a month, Champignon Brands up 100% in a week. I think we get the picture here that pretty much any of these stocks that have the buzzwords like psychedelics, shrooms, or champignon, which actually means mushroom in French, they've been on an absolute tear over the past couple of weeks, and I really just wanted to make this video sharing my thoughts on what I believe is going on and what we should be doing as investors, because honestly, I have never had so many people reach out to me thanking me for a stock that has managed to generate them decades of compounded returns in like 2 weeks. And let me just make this clear, in no way am I trying to be a downer in this video or whatnot, and most likely I'm going to have some people in the comments saying that I have no idea what I'm talking about, but you know what, to each his own here. I just want to present some facts and share my thoughts on what I believe is going on, because the reality is that it's kind of nerve-wracking actually to have not one but dozens of people reaching out to me directly, yes, for thanking me, but then another cohort of people asking me if it would be a wise idea to be dumping pretty much all their life savings into a stock that has already ran like 600% over the past month or so. So that's just something that I want to address in today's video. Now, like a lot of other investors, I personally became aware of and more interested in psychedelic stocks in general at the beginning of the year when Kevin O'Leary released this video with that super trippy thumbnail that appeared on pretty much everyone's home screen that actually watches investment videos. But in that video, he was kind of just speaking about how he believed that the psychedelic space would most likely be showing a boom over the coming years and kind of become like a secondary cannabis industry that we experienced in 2018 with that unbelievable rally. So from there on out, psychedelic stocks were a little bit more on my radar, my interest was piqued, and then fast forward a couple of months later, one of my good friends reached out to me and asked me if I could make a video going over MindMed, the company. And upon further research, yeah, I did definitely think that this could be a really cool investment opportunity that could provide some great upside over the coming years as this company really scaled out their product offering and actually provided a nice alternative for these types of medicines. By the way, if you haven't already checked that video out, I highly recommend that you do, because we actually spoke in detail about the company, their product offering, and their growth from an investment standpoint rather than what has quickly become one of the largest pumps of the year. Because to be fair, I do think that this company is really innovative and is most likely going to do tremendous things in the world of alternative medicine to treat opioid addiction, ADHD, and other mental conditions. But that's just it. These are solutions the company is looking to implement and launch in the medical industry. But from an investment standpoint, the reality is that the underlying company does not reflect the current share price. That's just a fact. Now, at the time of me releasing that first video speaking about MindMed, the stock was trading at around $1.30 per share. So that means that since then, the stock has rallied by multiple hundreds of percent. And if you did end up getting in on the stock, buying a position into it, then most likely you've made an absolute killing. So, you know, that's awesome. I also had quite a few people asking me whether or not I did end up investing that $500 that I was contemplating investing in the past video. And the answer to that is yes, I did. However, I did end up selling most of it off on Monday, which by the time you're watching this video is probably 2 days ago, because I kind of just had a feeling that the market rally was just a bit too excessive, having multiple days of 20 to 40% gains day over day for 2 weeks. That's just completely unsustainable. And I had a feeling here that we would be seeing a correction. Case in point, that's exactly what happened on the day that I'm filming this video, which is Tuesday. The stock is down around 15%. Let's look at some more data here before I further explain why I ended up selling most of my position in MindMed. First and foremost, as we can see here, the stock is already up over 1,000% over the last 52 weeks, which to me is already a red flag based on the fact that the company has yet to even produce $1 in revenue. And just take a look at this chart right here, and let's compare this to some companies in the cannabis industry over the course of 2018, which let's remember that this pump for cannabis stocks was only months before the actual decriminalization of cannabis across Canada. For mushrooms, LSD, and other products that these psychedelic companies are developing, they can really pose as great alternative options in medicine moving forward for mental health, but the reality is that as of right now, for the most part, these are still class 1 scheduled drugs that are not yet approved by the FDA on a wide scale level. Do I think they will be approved over time? Yes, I do. I just think that right now, the investor optimism is a bit too much for what the companies are right now. Now, to me, seeing a chart like this and comparing it to an industry that is extremely parallel to psychedelics, the writing is kind of on the wall that, yeah, a lot of us made significant gains over the past couple of months, but at the same time, things are getting a little bit out of hand here, and let's not get greedy. The last thing I would want any of my viewers to do is buy into this stock right here at the top of the chart and get severely burned, and this is actually something that a lot of my viewers were asking me, should I be buying into MindMed, and that was on Monday. So my answer to these people in direct message was no, I think it's overvalued, but at the same time, people are going to do it anyways, and this is something that I just want people to be really aware of and careful with their investments. And if we go down any deeper and look at some other data points, take a look at this right here. So only 0.26% of shares are held by insiders, meaning directors, officers, etc. 0.26% is already not a lot, but especially low for a company of this size. Moving on, only 0.02% of shares are held by institutions, meaning investment banks, asset management companies, etc. So what this ultimately means is that around 99.72% of the company ownership is actually held by the public, meaning retail investors, you and I, anyone who's holding shares of MindMed right now. And what I think a lot of newer investors specifically fail to realize is that stock prices move in the market based on offer and demand. And traditionally, as a company does well over time financially, demand for their stock goes up, and for this reason, so does the share price. But what happens in a stock pump, like what we're experiencing with MindMed here, is that the demand is so inflated over the course of the pump for a variety of different reasons. It could be future earnings expectations, or it could even be full-on FOMO, which is the case for MindMed, no doubt. But regardless, because MindMed is still a penny stock as of right now, and 99.72% of the company's ownership is held by retail investors, what's happening here is that retail investors are seeing the price go up, and so for this reason, they're excited, FOMO, they're buying more, and then the same cycle is repeating into sort of this vicious cycle where the stock is just being pumped up higher and higher by the investor community that's invested into MindMed in the first place. Now, look, what am I trying to get out of all of this and this video? I'm definitely not trying to make it a negative video or anything. I just want us to reflect as retail investors on the data that we just looked at and the overall phenomenon that we're experiencing with the psychedelic sector right now. The last thing I want us as investors to do is become somewhat brainwashed by greed and FOMO, especially on a stock that has already rallied by multiple hundreds of percent over such a short period of time. To me personally, I just think there is way too much hype and over expectations about this industry in the short term right now, way too much FOMO, and getting into MindMed at this current price point, or really any of these other psychedelic stocks for that matter. I'm just saying MindMed because that's the one that rallied the most and that has most investor excitement right now. I just think that most of these are completely overvalued. We're going to see a correction, case in point, 15% down today, and I wouldn't be surprised if we continue seeing it go down. But those are just my thoughts, and I would just be weary about getting into a stock right now that's already rallied by like 600% over the past month or so. As an investor in companies that I believe in for the long term, I just thought here that, hey, 500% return in such a short period of time on this really hyped up psychedelic stock, that's good enough for me. And if it does end up crashing down more, I might very well buy into MindMed again at a lower price point for a longer term buy and hold, because yes, I do think that this company is going to do some really great things in the mental wellness space and be a solution to some of these really large problems that we're experiencing, like opioid addiction, ADHD, ADHD, etc. And as an investor who's been in the market for quite some time now, I've just seen this pattern over and over again of a parabolic price cycle for a given stock for no apparent reason other than just complete hype. And so for this reason, I just felt comfortable materializing some gains, and hopefully this was of value to you, sharing my thoughts about the topic. With that said, I am going to speak about the $50 million bought deal offering that MindMed just closed recently. So yes, they did just close on this $50 million bought deal offering at a share price of I think around $4.40 or so. So that definitely does justify the price a little bit more. But regardless, I really just think that in terms of scaling out their product offering in the open market, in the medical space, we're still years out. And do I think that we're going to continue seeing a 20% gain day over day until at least 2021? There's just no way. And quickly, just to circle back to Kevin O'Leary here, he probably got in on this stock over a year ago, and I guarantee you that he got in on off-market stock prices, probably around 10 cents a share or something. I absolutely guarantee you that is something that happens when you're an early investor or whatnot. So regardless of what ended up happening with this company, he's laughing to the bank and is going to continue promoting the stock. Anyways, those are my thoughts on the psychedelic sector right now. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that this gave you a bit more perspective as to what I'm personally seeing in this sector. Do I think it's going to do well over time? Yes, it's really cool and innovative, and I think that over time, as the dust settles of all the FOMO and hype, this could become a really interesting company to invest in long term. But right now, overvalued, that's how I see it. What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to know. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash the like button. It really helps the channel out.